German territory under coconut palms, turquoise waters and endless beaches? All this once existed in the South Seas. In the series about the German colonies, we have already looked at the colony in China, but this time we are visiting a much more distant place, the South Pacific. The area we are talking about today was called German Samoa, was over 15,000 kilometers from home and was primarily known for its export of coconuts. But how was it possible to establish a German colony so far away? How was it ruled and how much Germany is still in Samoa today? We will answer all these questions in today's video. Have fun! A Dutchman was the first European to set foot on the islands of Samoa in 1722. He and the following explorers were warmly welcomed by the local population and an exchange of goods and technologies took place. From the 1830s, however, more and more Western missionaries settled on the island, intervening in the social life of the inhabitants, and Samoa became increasingly important for foreign powers due to its strategic importance. Numerous bases were established there to facilitate the sea route from America to China and Australia. In addition to the British and Americans, the Germans also played an increasingly important role in Samoa. From the 1850s, Hanseatic merchants began to use the Pacific region for trade and the extraction of raw materials and were able to establish a monopoly there over the following decades. The German trade representatives also began to buy large tracts of land in Samoa and conclude contracts with the local rulers, which also increased Germany's political influence on the islands. However, the British and the United States did not like this at all, as they had the same plans. The rhetoric of all three claimant countries became increasingly harsh and, fueled by the lively public debate in all three states, the signs pointed to war. By 1889, more and more warships were gathering in the harbors of Samoa and any small spark could have caused the barrel to overflow. However, it was ultimately a cyclone that prevented a war, as it destroyed many of the warships and forced the parties back to the negotiating table. As a result, the formerly independent Kingdom of Samoa was proclaimed in 1889, although in reality it was under the joint administration of Germany, the USA and the British Empire. However, it was foreseeable that this joint administration would not last long. A civil war broke out relatively quickly, as a result of which the USA annexed the eastern part of the Samoan archipelago and the Germans the western part. Incidentally, the Americans still own their colony to this day and it is an important foreign territory of the United States under the name American Samoa. German Samoa was not part of the administrative territory of the colony of German New Guinea, which we will look at in another video. Just like the colony in China, it was administered as an independent colonial territory and was to be transformed into a so-called model colony. This resulted in a public education system, a hospital and an extensive road network. However, many locals had to work on the plantations. In addition, many workers from other parts of Asia, especially China, were brought to Samoa to work on the coconut plantations under harsh conditions. Overall, however, the rule was very peaceful compared to most other colonies and the Germans granted the locals extensive freedom over internal affairs. This also saved the Germans administrative costs and the colony was the only one besides Togo that could exist without subsidies from Berlin. However, German rule ended just a few weeks after the outbreak of the First World War. The territory was simply too far away, which is why the German colonial administration decided to give up the colony without a fight, as a result of which New Zealand sailed into the capital with numerous battle cruisers and occupied the territory. It was not until 1962 that Samoa gained its independence from New Zealand and from then on became its own state. But what remained of German rule? Today, Samoa regards the German colonial period as a just and peaceful time in which natives and German settlers coexisted peacefully, which is mainly due to the fact that the subsequent New Zealand rule was much more brutal. Even today, there is still a small German community that is proud of the fact that Samoa's only beer is brewed according to the purity law. And almost all of the German buildings are still standing today. For example, the German school, the hospital and the huge warehouses of the Hamburg Plantation Company. Did you know the German colony in the South Pacific or have you ever been there? Let us know in the comments.